Hill Country Energy Sub-Regional Planning Commission holding its meeting today. It is Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. The time is 1:02. So if you'll please rise and join me in prayer, start that way and follow with the pledge to our flags. Heavenly Father, bless this gathering. Guide us in our deliberations, in our mission to ensure the safety of our community. Lord, we've realized here recently that the last thing we need is another disaster on our hands. The flood was bad enough. We don't need an environmental disaster with battery energy storage facility, Lord. So strengthen us, guide us, show us the way in our fight, and watch over, protect, and restore all those who have suffered loss. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor
To the flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Yeehaw!
Okay. Okay, the first order of business on our agenda is the approval of the draft meeting minutes from 2025 meeting. Any motions to approve those? Any discussion? Motion for.
I did this minutes from June 3rd.
Motion from Commissioner Carpenter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, is Jeff on the line?
He is.
Commissioner Jeff Holt, I believe, we have a Teams meeting going. All right, well, anyway, we'll just say, 5-0.
Very good. How about you?
He did I.
Did he? Okay. So the next item, and I do have some requests for public input, and we'll get to that. But if you have seen our agenda, you'll see that public comments are kind of reserved towards the end, and we're reasonably flexible on answering questions as they come up during the meeting. So we'll see if you'll still want to make these public comments at the end. Okay, so the next one is board member input on the status of best facilities, any activities, and developing information. And I Carpenter.
So we had a quick meeting that I responded to the request last week. With East Point Energy, I invited Commissioner McCall to that meeting. It actually didn't tell us much other than they do have an interconnected agreement with LCRA. They're not aware of any other companies with the same type of agreement. So the other company we've been watching is Key Capture. I have heard nothing from Key Capture. I don't know, this year, I don't think I've heard anything from them. There really was no content to it other than they're still pushing forward. We've also notified them that they need another road. So it's not just one narrow road going in and out. Commissioner McCall.
The other things I asked them were if East Point, if they had if they own their property, and they said they have an option to buy. So the Key Capture properties on the other side, there are leases that go on, they add to and add to. So they do have current leases there. And then we met with East Point. The main thing I did was to let them know what we know that these battery storage do, all of the failures, all of the potential fires, that's a high drought area for us in Kimberly County. So I just made sure that they knew what we know and what we've been telling agencies as we've spoken to them. So that's about all. I asked them where their batteries were coming from and they said they hadn't picked a company yet. Whether that's true or not, I don't.
Yeah.
Linda, do you have any
Yeah,
updates?
well, I heard, by the way, that now there are moves to recycle electric vehicle batteries as best for BESS. That's a new development, but, well, I had two things, that I wanted to bring up. One of them came out of the Secure the Texas Grid meeting, which I attended yesterday. But both of these things actually, are related to agenda items. So
Hold on to that agenda.
so I'll just hold them both, one on agenda item 3 and the other on
Sure.
6.
About to get to that.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if Jeff is on the line and can talk anything. If he's aware of any updates on any of the Kirk County best projects. Okay, well, I'll just say, I'm not aware that any significant progress or activity has taken place in Kirk County. We are aware of locations, I guess the one, Mountain Home. Anybody from the audience know anything about that one?
They've got a paved road going into it.
They've got a paved road going in. And that's the furthest one.
That's
along.
at 479 and Interstate 10.
Yeah, that's. The one in Center Point that we thought, it's kind of gone cold. I'm not aware of anything specific that's going on there, so it's hard to tell. They don't come to us for any approvals. So, we really rely on the public and the neighbors kind of keep us informed as to what's going on, because they have no obligation to inform the county of much of anything. Trying to track them through the ERCOT website and so forth, but we're not getting any cooperation from any of the state agencies.
Does anybody know anything about Harbor? Because I heard two things, maybe some of y'all here.
Maybe Mr. Nash can tell us what's going on.
I've heard, I mean, from a reliable source, I thought, but that particular Harbor BESS had fallen off of the ERCOT GIS list. And I didn't, if so, that's a huge
He's
thing.
shaking his head no.
No, that's not true.
No, because there's two reports on there. And what they identify as VAs in the report, it got switched to some other acronym. So it fell off that report, but they corrected it, so it's back on the.
Okay. That was all for a while.
It was off
Okay.
1 month. I watched it pretty
Wow,
close.
that's interesting.
Okay. Anybody else from the public have any updates on the best facilities in Kerr, Kendall counties? Or even Gillespie?
Well, I mean, as far as Gillespie, they cleared the land and they demoed the house. Not a whole lot of action. We've got a couple of things to.
All right, well, let's move on to agenda item point 3. Updates on communication and coordination with relevant state agencies and other government officials. I guess I'll kind of take the lead on this. The sad reality is we can't seem to engage Public Utilities Commission or LCRA. They recently sent out a 4th notice to LCRA. And that used a lot of their own arguments that their legal counsel put in a letter to the Texas Attorney General and their Office of
Freedom of information.
meetings. And anyway, Commissioner McCall had requested information from LCRA about this facility. And LCRA has taken the position that they don't want to provide any of that information, and so they're looking for an opinion from the AG's office that they're not required to. For all sorts of reasons that they put in a lengthy 4 or 5 page letter, which was highly redacted. when they sent a copy to Commissioner McCall. But they certainly put enough in there that used various arguments about whether they're a government body or a government agency. And they're subject to various chapters 412 and 552. That we incorporated some of that language into our letter and said, well, if you're subject to these other chapters under the Texas local code, then clearly you're subject to chapter 391 and you're required to meet with us. Well, that letter went out a couple weeks ago, no response. So we'll just have to step up the pressure. If anybody knows anybody on the board of LCRA or any other senior managers, let them know we're not happy. And, what are they hiding from?
When you're sending out letters, are you sending it certified mail so they have to sign? So you have proof that they did receive it, so they can't say, I never got that letter.
For the most part, and then our secretary also emails everything. And they have acknowledged receipt. It's just, there's no response. I'm not sure even what the acknowledgement, what good is.
Yeah.
Uh,
Are you moving on or?
well, now let me talk a little bit more. That was the LCRA story. Again, nothing has come out of Public Utilities Commission.
That's what I wanted.
Okay.
And did you want?
Yeah, do you stay in communication much with Dan and Margaret Byfield?
Yes.
And I just wondered if they're guiding us step by step on this because they were very helpful.
And before I send any correspondence out, I typically ask Dan Byfield and get his comments. His latest advice is that, they're going to continue. That he advised us all along that these companies like Public Utilities Commission and LCRA would not want to meet with us and will do everything they can to avoid it. And the only real option we'll have is to hire an attorney and file a lawsuit and run up a bunch of money and try to fight it out there and see what happens. But what he's actually telling us now is that, there are some wind of change here with the current administration. And a lot of the federal subsidies are drying up. In particular, if you're watching the news much, they're focused on wind. Hopefully they'll start focusing on solar. And, if they stop those projects, it'll have an impact on battery energy storage because, the reason for battery energy storage is unreliable energy coming from wind and solar. But I think Dan has advised we need to do more and start focusing on the EPA. That they might be our best angle to rescind in any of the monies available, federal subsidies, grants and loans for battery energy storage. Because they're doing that with wind right now. If they could put their attention on battery energy storage, that might have the biggest possible impact. So I'm about to send a letter out to the EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin, doing pretty much what Dan Byfield has advised and encouraging the EPA to eliminate all wind, solar, and BESS subsidies, grants, and loans, and then 2 pages worth of why. So there were a few extra copies. They may have already been picked up. I can always print out more at the end of this meeting, but I guess we need public engagement, and I'm really pleased to see so many people here. But I would encourage everybody, shamelessly steal anything you want, plagiarize, whatever you want to call it. But send a letter. Let them know. We don't want this stuff. Because they have a lot more ability to do something about it than pretty much anyone else. So that's kind of the story. And I'll just add that I attended a function this past Saturday, and both Representative Chip Roy was there, as were State Senator Pete Flores. And I spoke with both of them, asking for their support on this, and Senator Flores says that he's pretty sure that, his office is willing to put a little pressure on Public Utilities Commission. He didn't seem to think he could do much with LCRA. And Chip Roy, again, Chip also encouraged us to go the route of getting in touch with the EPA. He's already on board. He understands, he supports what we're doing here. He'll do what he can, but that slim majority in the Republican House, very difficult legislatively at this point in time. But through the administration, there seems to be a lot more hope. So again, I guess I encourage anybody who wants to be in this fight, and by your mere presence here today, I kind of conclude you do, write a letter. Yes, ma'am.
Have you all touched base with the AG's office? Ken Paxton is our AG. He's running for Senate. He's very involved in these types of causes right now. And if these elements are indeed government organizations, as you're saying, they've given examples in the past as being government organizations subject to a 391 commission, then it's a question of law where they are flouting the state law regarding 391 commissions. That would be an issue for the AG's office.
And I have reached out to the AG. In fact, I copied them on the fourth notice that went out to LCRA, and all this correspondence, with the exception of the one that I haven't signed and sent yet, it's available on our website. So you can go to www.HCESRPC.com, go to the correspondence page, and you'll be able to download a copy of each and every piece of correspondence to and fro. And that fourth letter that went out to LCRA is there. There's a lot of different politicians that are copied, and AG Paxton was sent a copy.
Thank you.
I haven't been able to speak with him. That might be one of the next things to try to do, to see if he'll personally support it, because you're right, he's on the campaign trail. It might win him some votes. I'm not sure. He might be willing to step up the game a little bit more than in his capacity as AG.
I'd like to respond to that and also make another point about PUCT. I mean, first of all, I support what she said, and that I think we have two different issues here. I mean, we've seized the AG's office about a Freedom of Information Act failing, right? So LCRA didn't want to respond to a Freedom of Information Act. And so that's what your question was about. However, there's the other issue, which is whether state agencies are obliged by Chapter 391 to meet with us. And I really think after these 7 months of, losing ground, basically, that it's time to get him to take a position on that issue, irrespective of the Freedom of Information Act, even though they're related. I don't see why we wouldn't do that. I mean, I know that I think the Byfields have not encouraged us to do that for some reason. But I feel now it is time for him to position himself, and I'd like to see us ask him to do that. And I think we have standing. You do have standing, I believe. I would like to clarify that point, whether we as an entity of local government actually have standing to seize the AG's office and ask for an opinion on this. There are other ways to do it, but I think I'd just like to see us, I'd just like to go on record and say, I think it's time for us to do that, and I don't see any disadvantage.
Okay. All right, well,
About his question.
Just a quick thought, what if there were delegations instead of just the letters? Now that there's 3 counties involved, could it be more impactful if we got a couple hundred letters written by citizens and even joined with Van Zant? But if you know, a couple of you folks and the other, I mean, it seems to me that could be pretty impactful. I know everybody's super busy, but in this day and age, it could show a true force. I mean, I think it's incredible we got our 3 counties.
Yeah, I think the more pushback they get from the public in general, absolutely it's helpful.
I'll pick for gas if you.
And I mean, if anybody knew a candidate for AG that might be willing to take a position on battery energy storage, it would be very helpful for any candidates to, get involved. It's a popular issue. Prove to us that, you can make a difference.
I almost, well, okay, Esther has a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, so this kind of, Linda, goes back to some of the questions that you've had in the past, specifically to TCEQ. So we have a copy of LCRA's agreement with Peregrine Energy. And in here, one of the questions you asked the general counsel of TCEQ is, are they a generator or not?
Right.
Yes,
They are self-identified in this as a generator.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where the AG needs to force TCEQ to stand up and say, they are a generator according to their own words. Why are you not making TCEQ do what they're supposed to do? Okay. I mean, so our lawsuit, so all of you know, in Gillespie County should land early next week, maybe hopefully this week. And it is chock full of a lot of different data that shows, the NFPA 55, NFPA 1, a lot of it, documents in there that should get some attention once it's filed. But it also kicks it back to the county saying, why are you not enforcing the laws? In Gillespie County, we have a commissioner or a commission who is unwilling to make the county engineer enforce the flood ordinance. So we've had to get a little testy and talk about bonds. Okay, now they've all lawyered up. Okay.
Yep.
So this is, you have to be willing to go to the fight and you can't hesitate. There's too much at stake here. We saw another fire in California on Saturday. I got the background from the fire marshal in Van Zandt County yesterday afternoon late. It was Cal Fire responded. They were told to go away because the Tesla facility had their own fire brigade, which falls under OSHA, right? So thankfully, we have a great engineer over here that helps us do all of our research, actually too, David's here too. But that fire, Cal Fire responded and they were told to go away. So that's why you're not seeing much information on it. And at first it was reported as a wildfire, then it was reported as a solar fire, then it was reported as a battery fire. But in reality, it was a fire at the battery facility all along, right? The evacuation order was given. No one wants to talk about when it was issued or even how long. It was 6 to 8 hours. And Cal Fire has not received a response from the Tesla facility as to what caused the fire. So we have to ask those harder questions if you're willing to stand up, okay? And I would like to see us do a protest at the governor's office with all of this, because you've got the bill, the act, the Lone Star Infrastructure Act, that doesn't have a penalty in it, and it doesn't have an enforcement mechanism. What are we doing? Making us feel like instituting legislation that doesn't do, shit. Right? That we have to talk about these points in finer detail and send it to them and say, look, this is what you're doing to us. And we aren't going to stand for it. So that's what I have.
And I had one other point on how we might get some legal guides for PUCT. I can just make that, it's, I don't know if anybody knows this person, but there is an, office of the Public Utility Council. And Ben Barkley is the, chief executive of that, and he's also a member of the ERCOT board. Do any of y'all know him? Do anybody know him? Well, anyway, the Office of Public Utility Council is set up to represent residential consumers and also small business consumers in various utility issues. And even though I think that we are not, would not be in that class. I mean, they're set up to represent a class. Y'all are in that class, but we as a local government entity wouldn't be. But I felt that he might be able to advise us about actually bringing a complaint against the PUCT. And if we are not in a position to use the Office of Public Utility Council, a group of citizen residential consumers could and say, and use them to open a complaint with the Public Utility Commission. Why aren't you meeting with our 391 commission? You see what I mean? And so I'd be willing to contact him, or maybe one of you could contact him. I could report back, just see what he says.
So when I was going to go to ERCOT, the president's name was on their whole year in review and how much energy they needed. I just looked up the president's name and phone number. I got it. I called. I got a meeting. So it could be that easy.
Would that be okay with y'all?
Sure.
If I reached out to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we got a little off track here. Let's move on to agenda item number 4. Gillespie County's request to join the HCESRPC.
Well, I had one that I deferred from I said I had.
Communication and coordination.
Yeah, I had something I wanted to talk about because it's a state agency, but it's not one of the big 4 that we've been dealing with. There are lots of state agencies actually that we have something to do with. But this is something I learned about. And is Don Miller here?
No,
No, okay. Well, this is about the Texas State Soil and Water Conservation Board. And they are a state agency. They were set up by the legislature 85 years ago, 1939. And you all may know we've got one here in Kerr County, and basically all the counties of Texas have a soil and water conservation district. And they're going to be having their annual meeting of soil and water conservation district directors on September the 27th, 3 days in Round Rock. And Kendall County has presented a best resolution. And that resolution was accepted by their resolution committee. And I feel like because they are a state agency and they cover Texas, it's really the fact that it's going to be discussed there and they have to vote on it. It's a very mild resolution, I have to say. I might want to read it to you because I think it's extremely important for it to be supported. And I think that we have to contact our Kerr County Soil and Water Conservation District. And I know Jeff Holt, if he's listening, he's the one I think would be really good to do it because their secretary is Barbara Oates. And get them on side and alert them that they're going to have to be voting on a best resolution when they go to their annual meeting. And, if they're not, and Kendall County is obvious, okay, but actually this needs to happen all over Texas. And getting Kerr County and Gillespie County, we can get, but I feel like it's a very modest resolution in the sense that it's just this long. It's not long at all. But the first paragraph really says what the concern is for soil and for water, right? They're stewards of soil and water and why they think this is a danger. And then the resolution itself just says, we request that the Association of Texas Soil and Water Conservation Districts convey our concerns for the state of Texas resources that we have stewardship of to our governor, Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows, that we oppose any further BESS systems be installed without coordination with local authorities in the affected county. So all they're asking for is just that 391 be enforced. That's really what this says. I feel if that could be, if we could get that passed, or at least it's going to draw a lot of light to it. And I am willing to work on this with your permission.
There's no reason why this 391 sub-regional planning commission can't send a similar, doesn't need to be a
Absolutely.
resolution, but just a
Well,
letter
yes,
stating our position.
absolutely. And as I said, they're a state agency, so they need to be meeting with us as well. And there's one other thing I wanted to mention. Because this is a resolution on their agenda, they're having a workshop, a breakout workshop to, educate their membership. And so Kendall County had, Dr. Rudd, who all of you know, she wrote this great report about the dangers of BESS, right? So they had arranged for her to be a speaker at this workshop. And the administration, unfortunately, invited an industry lawyer instead for 45 minutes of a 1-hour workshop. And Dr. Rudd only is on a panel for Q&A in the last 15 minutes. And so I wish if what we could do is complain about that and say that we need equal time, right? If there's going to be any workshop discussion about this resolution, we should have equal time. So that's maybe, if you think you're going to write to
I
it.
will make a motion that you draft a letter.
Oh.
The Country Energy Sub-Regional Planning Commission to send to Soil and Water Conservation District,
Okay,
expressing our concerns about battery storage and whatever else you want to put in it.
okay, I'll run it by y'all.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go.
Okay. Also, if there's anybody interested in this, because it needs some effort, if you would stay and talk to me afterwards, I can give you a job. Other counties in Texas need to be called. Okay.
All right. Back to Gillespie County's request to join the Sub-Regional Planning Commission. Their request has been formally approved by Kerr County's Commissioner Court. And I understand that Kendall County Commissioner's Court has also approved their addition. So I think it is appropriate for this board to pass a motion that would also accept them as an additional party to this sub-regional planning commission. So if anybody wants to make a motion.
Well, so I move that our 391 Commission, Low Country Energy Sub-Regional Planning Commission, is in favor of Gillespie County's adhering. And 2, that we immediately commence all necessary steps to legalize their membership in the HCD. I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, not for the motion, but go ahead with the motion.
Well, I will mention that I've already requested our county attorney to
Oh,
modify the interlocal agreement and the bylaws to reflect Gillespie County.
well, that's what I wanted to discuss.
So
So
And
I did want
so
to,
all those in favor of the motion?
I,
Aye.
we have a full.
Okay, so it's
Full
unanimous.
ties.
Hey, there you go. All right, so we're unanimous on that.
Yeah,
We'll welcome Gillespie whenever those agreements gets prepared and signed. Now, what do you want
okay, so I wanted to talk about the agreements because, I mean, so, okay, one specific thing that I wanted to put as a question. So now we're 6. Normally, we're 5 meeting because West Virginia is not often able
and he's not.
to attend, and he's not a voting member. But now we're 6, we're going to be 8,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
And so the question I have is, would it be worth considering having another citizen landowner representative since the group is getting larger? It's just, it's a question. So, I mean, there would be a way, a way to do it. It's,
I think it could be. My only comments are, number one, I am very happy with our current land representative on forum.
jumping into the meeting.
Number two, anything we do to modify the agreements other than strictly adding Gillespie County and their 2 representatives is gonna drag out the process unnecessarily.
and the way we had it set up, we were gonna have to change the landowner every year. So
Right.
that was just one.
Right, but that could be accommodated, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's just whether, I mean, and I take that. I mean, I
It's
think
not
we've got-
impossible, but I think you're gonna create unnecessary delay in the overall process. Right now, it should be relatively simple, and it's been set in motion, so.
Okay, then the other question I had is whether, because I heard that actually we did not need an interlocal agreement.
Don't go there.
Okay.
We can debate that all day long. We have one. And
Yeah,
by having one, we were able to get unanimous approval from the Kerr County Commissioners Court.
okay,
You're not gonna get approval from our court unanimously, no matter what we do. So
We didn't get unanimous approval.
The simplest approach, whether we need it or not, the simplest approach is just to use the existing
Okay.
documents.
Yeah.
And minimal changes.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll get through both courts. 3, I guess, depending on how you look at it. They'll hopefully be ratified by Gillespie.
right.
And Gillespie understands that that's the idea. They have to adopt these agreements kind of as is.
And the reasoning we didn't get unanimous support from our court was. And there's some truth to the excuse for not voting for it, and that is, this is a legislative problem. It is a legislative problem. That's true. That doesn't mean we just sit back and just let everything happen while we watch things unfold. That means we do nothing. So I completely disagree at the reasoning behind not signing on and helping us. I think it's a derelict of duty, in my opinion. And if anything else, having Gillespie County joining us and maybe another county eventually, it definitely makes our meetings more difficult because you have more people. But it sets up the legislative process for the next legislative session for our priorities to be directed towards what we need to do to actually fix legislatively the issues that we have. Because this last round of legislation, we weren't formed quick enough in order to have any bills that were really ready to be signed and move forward. But I believe this next time we can have Donna Campbell, Ellen Troxclair, West Riddell, everyone involved from our respective counties on board. And that gives us time. And right now is the time to write the language, because
Yeah.
right now is when you put together your legislative plan for the next session, even though it's a year and a half away. So.
If there are members from the public that want to get involved in drafting potential legislation, anyone is welcome to do so.
Well, and I'll say another, this kind of fires me up. The idea of sitting back and doing nothing puts everyone in jeopardy. What happens if something happens to our water source on the Guadalupe River? Now Canyon Lake is toxic. Like how far, do we look back and say, oh, we should have done something? Or do we look back and we say, there's some of us that actually took a stand and decided that we don't want these. We don't want these based on several factors, safety. And how many of you are tired of your tax dollars federally subsidizing foreign companies? We have Key Capture Energy, which is South Korea, sorry. We have East Point Energy, which is also Equinor, owned by Norwegian company. I mean, your federal tax dollars are paying for foreign students to sit in your universities at our tax dollars. How many of you guys are tired of? This is not a partisan issue. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is a common sense American problem that we have, United States problem. And so all the ridiculous excuses why we don't have unanimous support is absolutely wrong, and it shouldn't be tolerated by our citizens. And I'm so tired of it. You know what? And maybe these trips over here and you guys coming over to our courthouse, maybe we're not making a huge difference, but we are, because in the long run, we're standing in numbers and we're actually standing for something we believe. So.
And because of something, we may make a difference. Yeah. We'll get attention to this.
And all the ridiculous news articles that don't capture what we're doing right, shame on them. They're not real news, they're fake news. And I'm tired of seeing that happen.
And if we happen to have a news reporter in the audience,
Get it right, I'll hold you accountable. Get it right.
or just reach out, and if you need help editing and describing what you want to say, it's an open door. If there was somebody in here.
I just usually report, what's happening. I don't, a lot of people, they put their opinion in there. I mean, we've seen some pieces in the newspaper. It's like, why did they write that? They were abusing somebody. It's like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do as a reporter, a journalist.
Okay.
So, Commissioner, when you talk about it being a legislative issue, yes, there are legislative issues that need to be addressed. But we do have tools within the state, hence the fire marshal. And I don't know if you were aware, Van Zandt County just got another extension on their TRO because the energy company will not turn over the documents on their batteries, according to the NFPA 55. So it's not as if the counties are powerless to do this. You have to have the moral fortitude to stand up and say something and do something. So, let's not just blame it all on the legislature.
I agree.
I think that's valid, but legislatively or from a regulatory standpoint, we are very limited because the fire code is the only tool that we really have in the box right now.
Well, but when we go back and talk about the bills that are being proposed
Sure.
and what makes them enforceable and what makes them a civil violation versus a criminal, we have to hold those people accountable. Because if you don't, it's just like taxes. If you don't put a sunset in it, it's gonna go on forever, even though the project that it was called for will be expired, right? But they keep collecting money. So the devil is always in the details.
Yep.
So we need to do a better job of educating our people on holding our representatives accountable, and also the legislative arm of the legislature, that the legal part that puts in that language or doesn't.
Can I say something real quick? Go ahead.
Just 1 second, Commissioner Holton. Okay, Commissioner Holt, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I love listening to y'all, Esther, in the audience. One thing I wanted to point out, technology is very different from each of these systems, and it's important that we are involved in the planning process. And one thing Esther pointed out was what happened recently in Monterey is you had another battery fire, but it's a little bit different technology. It actually, from what I've read, and what she sent me, it came from a Tesla battery pack. 4 of the Tesla battery packs went on fire of the 84. Now they had some pretty advanced systems in there which shut things down automatically and stopped it from spreading. And I'm not saying Tesla's the way to go or we should promote anything like that, but we should be aware of the different technology and the risks that it brings. Because Harper's is frankly very different than what we're seeing going in Mountain Home, even though it's right down the line. Different technologies and companies and the risks they bring. So that's just yet another example of even what we would consider safer technology. The solid state Tesla battery pack still went uncontrolled, so runaway for a while, and yet it's not garnering a lot of attention. And here's what you probably didn't know. Last Friday, we had a transformer explode in the LCRA substation in Comfort. I know it because I saw it explode and I heard it explode, and then it caught fire, and I could see the smoke coming towards the school, Comfort High School. It's where it was disturbing to see that. It didn't really garner any news or attention. You probably have not even heard about it. And it's kind of the risk of some of these systems that we currently have in play. Now, it was a smaller substation just right north of the larger LCRA substation. And it's just an example of how much of a confederated network of power and transformers and stations in line, that the more complex they are, the more prone to risk and failure. The fact that the fire department and Brady Constantine, it wasn't immediately apparent who owned that transformer. Where did it happen? Why did it happen? A lot of these answers now we have to try to come. And even in our own backyard, we saw a failure that I just wanted to make sure it wasn't battery related, but it was still a electrical systems failure that almost created the evacuation of our high school locally. But luckily it didn't, because it happened right at about 3:50 p.m. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wheeler had something to lose.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say we're very lucky that we're about to kick off on some major Texan races, and we were talking about AG. I can guarantee you that the next winner of the AG race will only win because of the rural vote. I guarantee that's the way it's going to be, right? And it's going to be Kerr, Kendall, Gillespie. It's going to be our counties that push that next AG over the edge. So we've got to make sure that whoever we vote for AG supports this.
Agree. Okay. Where's that? Let's see. So we go through the going.
Yes.
Let's move on to item number 5, PUCT rulemaking of potential HCESRPC participation in regard to newly enacted BEST legislation, large load and grid resilience. But before I forget, I meant to say that I have heard back from TCEQ, not with answers to all of our questions from that April meeting, but with, I'm sorry, I'm working on it. Going to get back to you soon.
Did they answer any?
No,
Oh, good.
but at least he acknowledged that they're due and he's working on it and threw out a few excuses about floods and other things that preoccupy time
Sure.
and legislative sessions and so forth. Which, yeah, we have similar problems around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Okay, so I'm sorry, did I interrupt?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, we're on item number 5. And this is newly enacted BEST legislation. Yeah, I think
Okay.
this was your agenda item.
okay.
Looking for you to take.
So we've only got 2 best bills, which were enacted into law. And the one regarding fire codes and safety, which is HB 3824, and the other one on removal and end of life remediation measures, which was on lease property, which was HB 3809.
Right.
So what happens now to these laws is that they may go through an implementation phase, which involves rulemaking by the PUCT. And they first get assigned what's called a control number, and then they get put on the calendar for discussion. And I I've been trying to follow this, but it's kind of complicated. Anyway, I have not seen a control number for either of these two bills yet. But I am trying to monitor it, and if it comes up, and also there is rulemaking on other bills, laws, which do impact BES, even though they're not directly on BES. But if they come up, I mean, we have to ask ourselves if we want to be involved in the rulemaking, because we can be. I mean, if we have problems that don't actually contravene the actual bill itself, but are, for example, the things that you raised, as if we have things that we know that we want to introduce, then we need to be involved in this rulemaking process. And the way it happens is usually that there will be open meetings. And for example, I mean, yesterday was a good example because they had workshops. Sometimes if there's something that the commission staff wants public input about, or wants agency input about, or industry input about, and they need clarification, then they'll have a workshop with open discussion and formulate their questions and request input on that. And yesterday they had such a meeting. They had two workshops yesterday on Senate Bill 6, which concerns large loads. And one was on net metering of large loads, and the other one was on large load forecasting. And both of those do affect BES because BES is being co-located with large loads, data centers, and so on. So so one of the questions, and I sent out information about this, and I'm going to report what happened. But one of the questions that PUC Commission staff was wanting clarification from the public was, is a battery energy storage system, should it be defined as an existing generating resource, right? Well, do you understand?
Oh, no, I understand.
Okay, so
But I'm
that was
asking
the
the
question.
answer to that question.
And
Very
we,
simple.
yeah, it is very simple, you would think, but unfortunately, Commissioner Paces wasn't able to go to that and give his very clear opinion, which he stated many times here, that it is not and should not be considered a generating asset, a dispatchable energy generating asset. But you can listen to these, you can listen to this discussion. You might especially be interested to listen to that discussion. There were 6 speakers, and LCRA and ERCOT spoke. Also Vistra, does Vistra Energy ring a bell? The owner of Moss Landing, and they also have a BES in Granbury. And actually no one spoke in favor of removing BES from the definition of an existing generating resource.
So did they agree that it should remain as a generating source?
They agreed that it remain in the definition, which it currently is in, as a dispatchable energy generating resource.
Okay.
The only one, actually, ERCOT expressed, interestingly, expressed a more kind of nuanced opinion on it, saying that there's room for debate.
Yeah, that's good.
Saying that there's room for debate and that one had to look at the legislative intent in order to determine whether that definition served the legislative intent, right? And basically they just defer to PUCT. So, but if you want to, if any of y'all want to watch it, the recorded meetings are available. They're also live streamed. And I'll just tell you, it's real easy to remember. It's puc.texas.gov/agency/calendar/broadcasts. And
Sounds like we need to post that on.
I second that.
Okay, okay. And that discussion was at the 1 hour, 12 and a half minute mark. It didn't last long. So, but, okay, but anyway, but that link is good for accessing all their. So also the commission meetings.
Is it something that we could send a letter conveying our position on?
No, they did not want written, testimony. You had, for these workshops, you had to be there. They specifically said that when they announced the meeting, and so they weren't taking written comment.
So I'll just make two comments. I mean, clearly, batteries are not electricity generators. Yes, they store electricity, generate it. Power is actually lost.
Yeah.
Just in the whole process of taking it in and then expelling it. The other comment is they're not really putting best in these AI areas, buildings, facilities, whatever, you know, where the big power requirement is, they don't want to put them there. Because those are regulated, those are urban areas, you know, they might have ordinances against them. They're still focusing small rural counties
Yeah.
and putting them where there are no regulations and nothing that anybody can do about it. So I mean, you would like to think that they would put a power source next to the power demand, whether it's a city or AI or any other kind of facilities. And a few, they're talking about doing that and actually putting in, you know, a gas generator right next to it. All these AI.
AI data center.
Data center, thank you, that's what I took for the data centers. And obviously that would minimize any kind of transmission losses. When they put it in a rural area, you have massive transmission losses to try to get that power. So they don't generate anything, they don't contribute anything. It's just a tool to try to stabilize the grid, period. And they're only good for about 4 hours worth of discharge, so we'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's just the corruption, people are in it for the money. Okay, anything else on that one?
What was that one?
Number 5.
PUCT number 5.
Oh, rulemaking?
Yeah.
No, I mean, just to say that I mean, if we're gonna be involved, it's extremely challenging.
Yeah.
And will require, I mean, we have to know.
Yeah.
What are,
We need no advance.
and, yeah. and-
When is Public Utilities Commission to have a board meeting or anything?
Yes, and that is actually the other thing
That's
that
the next opportunity.
they meet, okay, here, I have here all their next meeting is the 11th of September. Then they have 3 in October, 2nd, 16th, and 23rd. And
Those are workshops or board meetings?
These are commission meetings. These are their regular open meetings. And the reason why it's also, I mean, I feel, and I don't mind doing it, it's worth looking at their agenda.
Right.
And just to see if there's anything of concern to us. But
Well,
the other thing
It's a
is,
government agency, so they have to follow the same open meetings. Act.
yes.
So they
do.
have to have public input.
They do, and
So,
they
nothing
have to
stops us.
publish their agendas, and they have to be reported and all that. And the other
Nothing
thing
would stop
is,
us from going to that board meeting.
No.
Having our say. If they won't come to us,
well, I mean, having
Right.
our say on the specific agenda item. But we can also request a specific agenda item, and that would be, why aren't you meeting with us? Right, so we should, I think maybe after I speak with this Office of Public Utility, that we should decide whether we're now ready to ask for a specific agenda item.
I
And
think we are.
address do you think we are already? Well,
Because
then let's do
It's
it.
clear they're not going to come and meet us.
Okay, so let's have a motion.
We need to go to them. You can try the agenda item. I have a feeling that they're not gonna include it. I'm not sure.
Well, I will try to get some advice about that.
But there's always the public input portion, and
Yes.
we might be limited on how long we can speak, whether it's 2 or 3 minutes, but if we're real clever, we can draft up what we want to say and let multiple people pick up what the last person was going to call.
If we fit in on a particular agenda, but I would like to.
Yeah, if you can get an agenda, great.
A motion to explore getting a specific agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I move that we explore getting an agenda item at the next PUCT commission meeting.
Okay, then I second that. Oh, I seconded it.
She
Oh,
beat-
I think I
She beat you to it.
I seconded it really fast.
Yeah, all
Oh.
all in favor? All in favor?
I have some discussion though,
Oh,
which is that if we're gonna do that, we need to work on it.
yeah.
And
absolutely.
I,
And we need to have a date,
well, that'll be up to them.
get in our schedules.
That'll be up to them. I mean, when they put it on there, you know, but concerning working on it, I mean, I would like to work on it. Would you like to work on it?
Sure.
Okay.
Is that meeting in Marble Falls?
Huh?
Where would that meeting take place? In Marble Falls?
No, in Austin.
Oh, in Austin.
Yeah, they're all in their
Okay.
office in Austin and their report. It's very interesting to look at them. I would encourage.
Linda, did you give the dates for the next,
Of the next,
you said September 11th. so-
September 11th. And they begin at 9:30 a.m.
Okay, and in October?
And the next one after that's October 2nd, 16th, and 23rd. I mean, if y'all are interested in this, maybe we can just put it up on the website, you
Yeah.
know, how to find your way there, see the agenda and so on, so y'all can do it too.
Could you send it all to me?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that you might already, so they can get it on that September 11th.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know,
No,
maybe you can target.
we won't make
October
that.
2nd.
We might not make it, I mean,
Okay,
till December, you know. They have a lot going on, but
okay. Let's try. So anything else on that item? The next one is agenda item number 6, the role of 391 commissions and Texas Cybersecurity Command, which is Senate Bill 150, and protecting critical infrastructure. 9 is right.
Well, the governor's GA 49.
well, that and something else, but I mean. Well, I think I asked for the role of the 391 commission in the Texas, you know, that's one of the laws that was
Sure.
passed was setting up the Texas Cyber Command.
Right.
And it's going to be in San Antonio.
Very clearly includes 391.
And absolutely clear that their 391 commissions are specifically mentioned as part of the
Right.
kind of organizational platform that they're depending on. And I just thought, I mean, it doesn't, you know, I just wanted to get it on our,
Yeah.
you know, on our plate that we may need to think about this. And then,
You know, that was in the letter that went to LCRA.
oh,
We talked about
about that.
wanting to participate in being approved to participate, if you will, on cybersecurity
Right,
under that bill. Because LCRA used it in their letter to the AG as to why they shouldn't disclose things to Miss Jennifer McCall. Not sure if they knew you were a commissioner.
well, they never, I wondered,
I went in as a president.
as what, a resident? I wonder if it might have been, I mean, that's a question, whether it might have been better to go in as official.
Our letter has already asked for all that stuff.
Okay,
Well,
So-
actually, 2 letters have, so.
but aside from that, bill, Senate Bill 150, setting up the Texas Cyber Command. Yesterday, I learned about, maybe some of y'all already knew about it, but 4 years ago, in September of 21. The Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act was passed in Texas. Do y'all know about that? Well, anyway, the idea will be familiar to you because it's essentially reiterated by Executive Order 48. But it's to prohibit a business entity or a government entity from entering into agreements relating to various critical infrastructure areas, including the grid. The grid is one of them. Entering into agreements with companies or entities from China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia, or any other country that's deemed to be a threat. So that law has been law for 4 years already. And the governor reiterated it with this executive action.
That was the one I referred to earlier that does not have a penalty phase
Yes.
to it and does not have a enforcement mechanism.
Get one, you mean, it's called Senate Bill 2116
Well,
is the one.
but rolled back up into the Lone Star infrastructure.
Well, it's too late to do rulemaking on that,
Right.
but it is there. And so even with these flaws, what they're doing in Van Zandt County and what I think we could also do or explore is getting their district judge, not the county commissioner's judge, the district judge, trying to get the district judge to come out with a moratorium on any further builds of BES build outs until it can be investigated and determined that this law is being complied with, right?
Violated.
And there's also federal laws to the same effect called CIP. I think it's CIP 10. And at the federal level, for example, 2 such investigations are already going on, one against Microsoft and one on a offshore wind turbine about these, containing components. But the thing that this is maybe something we could consider doing. But I don't know the political,
It's not political, it would be legal.
It's legal, but we're asking a judge.
Yeah, you would file an injunction in district court to do this.
Yeah. The
Yes.
only problem is there's no basis to file an injunction until there's a development plan or some kind of plans that are put in front of you, which they're under no obligation to do.
Or that have not been previously supplied to you for a facility that is currently operating.
We
Right.
do know,
Which means you kind of have to wait until they get close to
Well, and that's the vote.
installed and operating.
That's the
And
vote
then
we're in
all of a
right now.
sudden, then there's a lot you can do.
Right.
But to try to stop them now, about all we can do for any of those who are watching is know that when you get it built and you get ready to operate, we're gonna shut you down.
Right.
Yes, but
no, we do know that there's Chinese batteries existing in the Van Zandt
Yeah.
facility.
right,
So that's already a violation.
right,
Sure.
right. But also,
All I'm saying is until it's actually there and you can go out and inspect something, it's very difficult.
Well, when they listed
To
them,
do
they're
anything for a judge or anybody else.
Ram batteries, I think they were like
Yeah.
687 amp hours. I mean, they listed the specification.
The other thing that is a consideration under that, is the fact that Aspen is a software and Jeff may know the answer, Commissioner Holt may know the answer to this, we do not. What is the connection with CATL? Because the Aspen software is what LCRA requires for you to tie into to operate in the system, right? Who is the actual owner of Aspen now? It is, we can find some that's Italian, but we don't know what the other entities are. So that is another piece to it,
It appears that CATL owned them for a time.
but we can't confirm that.
yeah, and I think that in my opinion, even if it's true, what you say, that I think we should still go for the even if it were to be challenged, or if we, if we could get a district judge on board to go for this, because how can you, I mean, if this is the law that you're not supposed to have it, then there need to be proof that you're not going to have it, right? And if they can't supply that, so I don't know, but I would really think it's, they're gonna do it in Van Zandt County, so of course they're in a different situation on this. But I think it's something that is worth exploring. If I haven't read the law. I don't know exactly if that's what might be possible, but I certainly think it's an opening. Also, they're trying at the federal level to also set precedents for this. So, I don't know. It's something I'd like for us to maybe examine.
Well, I'll let you know that everybody, when we talked to ERCOT, we got ERCOT in a Teams meeting with Nancy White, and we just started bringing up every single thing, because I think a lot of these agencies, LCRA, the state fire marshal, we talked to them about the upcoming legislation that they will be working on the wording with PUC, letting them know a lot of these agencies and these people that will be in these meetings do not understand what the hazards are and what these facilities do. We mentioned what happened with Mason County with Mr. Dyer. They have a tech coming out to work on a battery that was supposed to not be Chinese, that had Chinese, it obviously was from China because the project manager is not there when it's actually hooked up. And the tech that comes out to work on it is calling the engineer in China. So I'm trying to, so that they can FaceTime and he can tell them how to work on the battery. So if nothing else, we're trying to, as we get conversations with some of these state agencies, even though they won't meet with our 391, we've talked to the fire marshal, we've talked to ERCOT, and we just let them know what the hazards are, because a lot of them don't even know what a BESS facility is. It's new, but we're trying to educate not just the public, but the agencies as we get them on the phone in a meeting, possibly before they make this legislation reworded, as fire marshal works with public utilities. So they're not aware. They're not aware of everything that's coming.
I would like to point out that our district judge for Kerr and Bandera counties, he is up for re-election. That's Pat McGuire. And he was a municipal judge over in Ingram Way. And so he's a rural guy. He cut his teeth doing small town stuff. So if we could bring this to his attention, maybe he could talk with us about the legal ways that we could achieve standing in order to bring that and pursue an injunction or something of that nature. Yeah. Could be a possibility.
Well, we know for Van Zandt County, one of the reasons they have had the ability to make these injunctions for the batteries and things like that is that they've got a commissioner who's a lawyer. They have a DA, I believe, who is in agreement with following through on all this. And I don't know all of our counties. We've looked at it, but we need to look at it again. But it does require some legal help.
Yeah, it seems to me that it's right now more urgent actually in Kendall County. If there would be something that could put a restraining order or a moratorium on the bill down, because all it's further along, right?
I mean, it's kind of like what Commissioner Pace said, and until they do something, it's like, I'm gonna prosecute you for lying to me when you haven't even lied to me. There's gotta be a step. Something has to happen in order for you to file something against the company. You can't do it based off of what they might do. This isn't.
We have the right to know what they're going to do.
Well, until they submit something,
Yeah, they don't have-
That's the problem.
That's,
we have no,
well, this law, I think this law does give us.
Okay, hold on a second. So do you have their agreement with your, is it LCRA that they are connecting to? Do you have that agreement that their interconnectivity agreement? You have to get that.
Yeah, they had to start
That
it.
whole thing that I brought out a copy of ours to show you if you didn't have one. It gives you the deadlines in there that they were supposed to have done all sorts of things, including deeding over property to LCRA. And all of these documents were supplied supposedly to LCRA over a year ago, a long time ago. So you got to get your hands on this agreement. Because, for example, they were supposed to have turned over all their design plans, the batteries, all the details
Right.
by May 16, 2025. That didn't happen. Didn't happen. So I'm gonna bet you your system is in the same situation that they are hiding this agreement from you.
I'm sure you're right, but we've asked for it multiple times and we're not getting it.
That's, and that's where you do your like we are doing with the private citizens litigation. And I mean, we raised one fundraiser, raised $35,000, okay? To hire the attorney to get all this stuff done, and this is the suit that should be filed hopefully later this week or first of next week, okay? Because they haven't abided by any of this. And they have it, or they don't. And this, we were told by somebody who's got a family member at LCRA, that LCRA had cyber issues with Peregrine because of all the issues that we have mentioned.
Yeah.
With the cattle, with all of it. And no one has challenged it. So that is the conversation we're having with our attorney now. And I mean, we know we're gonna take the hornet's nest, but we have to. There's too much at stake, right? And the county, this is where we're asking all of the counties to please, push this up and demand this. I mean, have your county attorney, who is our county attorney, or no, you have a separate one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get them to send a demand letter to LCRA for this contract. Do it.
And can you, on the basis of these documents, could you actually get your district judge to, say,
To write the injunction,
yes,
that-
to-
that-
yeah,
that is,
a
I mean,
temporary
this is that
restraining
part.
order
I mean,
or.
obviously, you talked to Nancy, and we're on the call yesterday. Okay, I talked to her almost every day.
Uh-huh.
So we had this discussion actually this morning and yesterday about that particular piece and filing that injunction. So this would be separate in addition to the one we're doing now. So to say, hey, no, where is all of this stuff? But our county, because they've already been in discussions, they've already let them continue the construction, hasn't enforced it. And this is where we're pissy. Because we've got a county engineer that will not enforce the flood ordinance. And by going to FEMA, because ours is in a flood zone, she could have put a 12 to 16-month hold on this project. And didn't do it. Okay, didn't do it. So, now we are having to take much more aggressive steps with our commission. And saying, hey, it's time to do your job. You all unfortunately understand what happened with the flood. You didn't have a choice. We have a choice. And we're saying, hell no.
Well, if you'll share that agreement.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's get moving on. I know Commissioner Carpenter has to leave at 30. Anything else on item number 6? Sounds like we don't. So we'll discussion appropriate action on other administrative matters. And probably I don't know if there's anything new in there.
I do have, this is a question that I want to raise that started, kind of turned into a little bit of a concern. And that is, the fact that we post our meeting videos on our website. And the reason that it's turned into I'm all for transparency. And the Texas Open Meetings Act seems to be unclear about whether we, 391 Commission, are actually obliged to post our meeting recordings on the website, like a county is.
There's no requirement to do it.
There's no requirement? Okay, then I would like to discuss the wisdom of doing it. And the reason, I mean, I need it to write the minutes. I'm not questioning doing the recording, but I would like to, I'm concerned about posting it. And the reason is, as we've all been saying today, I mean, we're actually in a fight for our lives, right? For the, for human life and the flora and the fauna and the environment of the hill country. And so this requires strategic discussions. And we're like, and I feel like one thing, I don't necessarily want to put this all out necessarily. I kind of want to play in some cases, play the cards a little closer to the chest. And the other thing is that knowing that it's going to be posted on the internet can be looked at by the companies and
You mean by the
everybody.
attorney, like by us?
Sitting.
They can,
Yes.
they can.
So,
I understand that, but to actually make it available, they don't, that, you know, they can pass it around, whatever. And also, that fact, it limits what I feel comfortable discussing.
Yeah.
And already because of the Open Meetings Act, I can't talk to y'all. I can't talk to y'all already, except here,
you talk one other
one to
person.
one person, but we can't,
That's right.
you know, discuss strategy together except here. And this fact that it's, you know, going to be posted on our website
There
limits what I feel.
there are workarounds. For example, you could have a strategic discussion with any member who is not a member, any person who is not a member of this board. That person could then have a strategic discussion with any one of us or all of us.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, there are pros and cons. I agree, it's difficult. And so the fact that we're posting these meetings for complete transparency, we need the publics to get
We
involved.
do.
We need them to be informed and aware and to help us in this fight. And, you know, so let's use it as a tool. We know that some of these developers, maybe all of them are watching these things. And so again, you know, for you developers out there, go ahead. When you build your facility in Kerr County, you're going to be audited and inspected. And we're going to find all kind of reasons, I'm sure, to stop you. So we will use the law and 855 to the full extent possible. And the State Fire Marshal Office is ready to help us. So, and that's the time we'll get district judges involved to issue stay orders. Because not much we can do right now, but you know, that's what they need to be aware of. So maybe there's an easier county for them to put their facilities in. I don't know. I'm highly encouraged.
Well, I just wanted to bring up that
Yeah, no,
concern.
it's a dilemma. I agree with. Okay. Any other administrative matters then? Let's move on to public comments. If they still want to talk, we've had a lot of discussion already. I've got a request from Robert Flores.
He just left.
He just left, so that makes it easy. All right, then we've got Becky Ballou. You still wanting to?
It's been a very informative meeting and I withdraw my privilege of
Okay.
opportunity.
And I've got a request from Pat Long. Would you like to make any comments?
I basically want to thank everybody for all the hard work, the devotion for all of this. I mean, it's just been amazing. And particularly since I live on Willow Bend, right at the end where they want to put one of the facilities. And,
Keep
we all
watching, let
know,
us
I
know.
mean, it's preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
We all know the dangers, the fire, the air pollution, all kinds of dangers. And I really do so much appreciate all the hard work. Yeah.
Now we're here. Committed. Any other comments?
May I make a comment? Number one, I'm Thomas McCormack. I live in about 4 miles from 479 and that station out there at Mountain Home.
Okay.
We have a very uphill battle fight regarding getting legislative elected people to do anything. And until that elected person or that appointed person is fearful of the voters
Yeah, there you go.
taking him out of that position of authority, they will not do anything for us. So you have to have a large enough stack of opposition letters or other influences to get their attention.
Actually, they really don't care. I'm gonna tell you, they
They
have
don't.
done risk assessment analysis to determine how many lives are expendable
Mhm.
and all of that, because it boils down to money.
Yeah.
And what is making their lives miserable in Van Nant County is they have to turn over those documents and they know they can't because they'll lose in court.
Mhm.
So they keep extending the TRO, right? So that's where we have to make it really irritating. I mean, I guarantee you, Peregrine Energy has done a background check, a complete one on David Nash, on Bruce Heinze, on myself, on Sarah, all the people. I mean, they flat out told them they know where they live and describe what's in their yard. How nice is that? These people do not care. And they have the best lawyers.
Is there another comment there? Somebody else? David, you want it? Go ahead.
You look at me.
Well, it's fine.
I want to be official and give you
State
actually.
your name and
Can
where
I
you
sit
live.
down? Can they hear when you're up there? Okay.
Speak up so they hear you on the recording.
Yeah, this is David Nash, Gillespie County. I want to have one of those strategic discussions with one of y'all. I reached out to Jeff. I don't know if he's still online. And I agree. I don't want to show any cards. We don't know how to play them.
Sure.
So I've got some ideas about how we can do things now.
Wait, you can
Not
share
ready.
your ideas with all of us if you want, as long as you do it on an individual basis.
And so I just did that this morning with Jeff by email. So
Great. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Okay,
Just identify yourself.
I'm Michael Stouts.
Sorry. Thank you.
I just moved from Dallas to get away from the bully nonsense and it's followed me here. But I just, we've gotten involved in church, my daughter's school, and no one knows about it. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no one, I can tell you, because I talk to parents at games, and there are plenty of people that would agree with us, and no one knows about it. So I'm new to this, so it seems like there's a lot of acronyms and stuff that's getting thrown out. So somebody who's just coming into this really has no clue as to what is going on, other than, it's a negative. So I guess kind of to the point that we talked about, is there some type of project manager rather than just putting agenda notes? Is there somebody who's gathering? I mean, it sounds like you have gathered all of this and are kind of the point person, but is there anyone that, if you've got a question, because you talked about, I'm writing this letter, but I don't, no one knows who's doing what, it seems. And is there something that we can discuss maybe to put together, say a little more, a project manager?
A lot of different leaders involved in this fight.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is
So
there,
You've heard from some.
right,
who
and
are
that's
part of
my
this
point
board,
of, everybody's just
Essentially,
charging
it's
the
a
hill,
plate.
but you don't have a general
Uh,
feel.
But if you want to kind of get up to speed, I encourage you to visit our website.
Yeah, and,
There's a wealth of information out there.
and that's, where do I find that?
Well, I say every county is different.
Yeah.
So you really need to focus on your county, even though all of us have a lot of information.
And that's what I was saying, someone for
Yeah.
Kirk County, I mean, I just don't, you know, like I'm new to this, I don't even know the website. So, you know, that's,
www.hcesrpc.com.
okay. I mean, that's great, but it's gotta get, it doesn't do any good if nobody.
Well, but you gotta understand, there's a lot of people that have a lot of apathy. Okay, and they want somebody else to do it. And I mean, our group is a handful of people. And most of them are right here, you're seeing, that are doing the work, okay?
Yeah.
It's hard, I mean, Bruce has 600 hours in this and thousand, there you go. You know, not everybody can dedicate that kind of time.
And I agree. All I'm saying though is.
It's
you said-
intimidating and you can't explain it this much.
Right, and.
That's
so-
making it hard.
Yes, and I agree, but like you said, write a letter. I have no idea who to write a letter to.
Why don't
That's,
you with some of us afterwards? and
yeah,
take it?
but I can't tell people at church if I don't
Yeah.
know.
PSA at the ranch radio, they will put everything out there. Like they have been phenomenal at doing that. So if you email them things that you find or you hear in talking to people, they are phenomenal at putting stuff out there. So it's just, I think you're right, Mike. I think you're shocked by the few amount of people that are here. There are a lot of people that are in the fight, but there are a lot of people that do not show up. And so my suggestion or my question, I'm sorry, Audrey Verner, current Kendall Counties, that's sort of beyond there, but it seems to me that these politicians and elected officials,
Watch it.
some elected officials in county, I would say, like to hide behind stuff and they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. They will shake your hand. And I'm right there with you, everything. They agree 100% and they're going to do everything they can. And then they vote against things. So I would say, I think the biggest thing that we need to do, and Linda, you are so sweet, but these people are scumbags. I have no other way to say it, except that these people that we're dealing with, and you want them to have your morals and ethics and integrity, and these people don't. And so I think trying to go to them on our level is a waste of our time. So it seems to me in researching 391 commissions, the ones that were successful were the ones that actually had a lawyer involved. And I know lawyers are expensive, but we have a tremendous amount of incredibly intelligent people between Kerr, Kendall, and Gillespie counties. We've got to be able to find some lawyer who's willing, who has a dog in the hunt, who's willing to do pro bono work and stand up and help us.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, that won't happen.
Okay, maybe in Gillespie, but I'm not giving up. And no offense to y'all, but I am not giving up on Kerr, Kendall
No,
County
what I'm
because
saying is the pro bono, I mean, I've got
I'm not,
connections out the wazoo.
I believe you and I love you, but I'm gonna
Even
say
big
I
firms
will not give
don't
up
wanna
on
do it.
Kerr and Kendall County yet. Because I do believe there's somebody that has a dog in the hunt. There's somebody that has to understand the value of their land will be zero if when we have one of these catastrophic failures. So there has to be somebody that has power, authority, has a backbone. That's what we need. Going to them and trying to talk to them politely and everything, I think that's a complete waste of time. I think we have to have somebody and we have to have a man or a woman that has ethics, integrity, and that will stand up and fight the fights. It's finding that person. So if somebody has somebody maybe that's retired, I know there's some tremendous people that are retired working on the flood warning system. I don't know these people aside from what I've seen in Commissioner's Court, but they seem to have incredible ethics and integrity. That's what we need is a lawyer, because LCRA is just going to keep blowing us off. They're just going to keep blowing us off because all they have is a little letter. They don't give a rat's patootie about any of us. And so I think it's finding that attorney that has a backbone that's willing to stand up. That's what I think we need. And so I would just say, go to the website and then get some of the commissioners' numbers, Mike. Talk to some of these people up here because they truly have done phenomenal things. And I know, and I am so sorry too, because I know government from Dallas to come up here and we're supposed to have all these problems. But I know that our commissioners are phenomenal at what they do and they have been fighting and they research all of their stuff. And I agree with you. We need to have somebody that is manning it here in Kerr and Kendall counties.
And just so y'all know, we're not allowed to use
Scumbag?
Sorry.
Sorry.
We're not allowed to use our overhead. We're not, I mean, this is brought in by Commissioner McCall to record. We can't use county materials, devices. We can't use our county attorney to represent us on the 391. This is all on our own. This is all like going dark. And we're working to try to work with other counties for what we're trying to accomplish. But I do believe that interconnectivity agreement that you were talking about, that can be done through our general counsel acting as a commissioner for my county, not as a 391.
Right.
And I can do that and get that and share that with you guys. But we're limited on a 391, what kind of county, we can't use any county other than the building. And so, but I do have to, I can get that on.
So,
But when you do that, get all the attachments, because there's gonna be layers and layers and layers. They may give you just a document, but get all the attachments to go with that.
before everybody starts going, and I know we still have some comments. If you want to know more about when our meetings are, or if you have a question on the sign-in sheet that you saw when you came in, put it out there, or sign your name again. Give us your email so we can send you our agenda, because we will be, especially adding Gillespie, we're going to be adding locations of where we are, and it's not something you'll necessarily remember from one month to another or 1 week to another. So add your email. And also, I wanted to ask if we could kind of have a workshop, or, we've had a lot of discussion. So in order to have more public interaction going back and forth, could we add an agenda item and maybe public interaction, or how could we do that? Because we want to go back and forth. Normally public comments with the open meeting. Sorry.
Well, we did a lot of that.
We did, but I wanted the public, especially because we've raised a lot of questions today. There might be people who look at the video and on next meeting, maybe anything. Just, can we word it public discussion
We could.
so that we can go back and forth like we have?
I'm not sure where it would be different.
Okay,
The-
well, what if we
back and
just
forth.
reword that?
Yeah, I mean, you could, one other thing I wanted to say is if you're new to the game and don't really understand the mess and the concerns, that there is a reasonable quality presentation that's posted on the website. It's actually one that I prepared and gave to the Rotary Club eons ago. I think it was in June, the end of June, and that's available under the page that talks about video and things of interest. And you can kind of go through the full presentation that talks about it. You don't have the comments that I make on the side for each slide, but it'll give you a better idea of what we're up against here.
And all the letters that we've sent are there too. So if you want to copy and paste, or, you can send those to LCRA or whoever, everybody we've contacted.
But I think that one thing I'd like to pull out of this little discussion is there's actually a need, before we got the 391 commission, there was a local group which communicated and had a mailing list and then once we got the 391 commission, I'm not sure what's happened to that, but I was on it and it seemed to me like it kind of disappeared. And I feel like there's a big need for it to continue even more now that we've got the 391 commission, even more that we have us up here. We need you to be organized so that, for example, I need it. If I'm going to try to help get this resolution passed for the Texas Soil and Water Conservation Districts, I need your help. I mean, this is not something for us. I mean, and so I would like to kind of jump on the back of your expression of need for, you need somebody you can get in touch with and everything. It's not necessarily from us. I think that we need to kind of reconstitute that, citizens group and, have the two legs. We need two legs.
I make a motion that I'll do that.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
And also on the suggestion about just having the public discussion, I actually like having it on the agenda item. I think I don't think we have to have a separate thing for public discussion. I think that if we keep the agenda items and allow the public to participate.
Yes.
Then that, I think, is the right way.
But still in the future.
What do you think?
As we have,
today.
as we have issues, I think we'll just change that public comment to public discussion so that if we have something that, you know, we have information from different counties and different people that have been involved, then that we can have a full on discussion.
next meeting date, any ideas? Next month sometime. Next on the
Open the second meeting. Second one, I'm sorry, about.
I haven't spoken. So,
I don't know. It's
yeah.
I can think of people that
We got our part.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I hear.
Thursday, meeting adjourned. October 9th.